Hey everyone, welcome in to another daily editorial here on the KE Report, getting an update from Aztec Minerals, discussing some more sample results from the Tombstone property in Arizona. News came out July 2nd, earlier this week. I am chatting with Simon Dyakowski, President and CEO of Aztec Minerals. Aztec is traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol AZT and on the OTCQB under the symbol AZZTF. Now, Simon, it was just a week ago, I think, that we were talking about some initial sample results from the Contention Pit. Now we have some more results and some more high-grade results. The highlight sample result being 60 meters of almost 3.5 grams per ton gold equivalent. Now, I'm going to post Figure 1 and Figure 2 from the news release to try to talk through what you're seeing here. The headline being Line H. You can see how it's running north-south along the Contention Pit. And you look at Figure 2, Line H is there. It's just a smaller little notch, but that's because it's running kind of facing the cross-section. Can you just explain here how this sampling is actually expanding the mineralized gold-silver footprint, please?
Yeah, no, happy to explain it a little bit. It's not as conventional as just straight drill results or sampling results. So it's a good opportunity to expand on it a little bit. So thank you for having me on to discuss it. The way to really understand this is we have a drill hole database running along the pit, drilled in various dips off of the same azimuth, so all towards the east. And we have a grid drilled on the pit. But what we've seen in the drill results is cross-cutting the structures at depth, right? So 30, 40, 50 meters below the bottom of the pit. And in our modeling, it identified a deficiency in that we didn't have any assays on surface. And being an exposed open pit from previous mining, we can see that the structures that were intersecting in the drill holes at depth are also outcropping at surface. So perhaps in another company, you would have sampled the pit first and then drilled, but we happen to drill first. Now we need to sample the pit to go and draw any potential inference between the surface and the intersection in the drill hole. And so the way we did that was by running 2-meter continuous chip channel samples along the various north-south trending structures in the pit. And so you can see that in Figure 1 in our release, how those run north-south. And then in Figure 2, you can see how they correspond to the actual north-looking cross-section of the drill holes in the pit. And it's not in the news release, but if you want to look at this even further, in our presentation, there's a longitudinal section that shows all of the cross-sections lined up from north down to south, which shows the consistency of this structure or these structures running north-south, which we've intersected with the drill hole. So in summary, it fills in a big knowledge gap in our modeling and potentially adds resources to the model when we get to that stage. And it confirms that the high grade comes all the way up to surface, and it confirms really the dip of the mineralization when you compare it to the intersections in the drill holes. And that runs right into the Westside Expansion Target, which we've been also talking about and working up over the past few months, both with indications from our existing drilling, now with our surface sampling, but also with integrating the model with these underground maps that we have from the old underground mining from way back in the day. So all of it's coming together now to really just grow and reiterate the high grade nature of this system of both gold and silver.
So essentially, the focus is on the west side, right? You're seeing mineralization on the west side of the Contention Pit. You've hit gold and silver mineralization through some of the drill holes. Now you need to step out through that Westside Expansion Target. What are the plans going to be to drill that target? Is it big step outs, or do you need to take more of a staged approach, doing more shorter step outs just to make sure you're still hitting mineralization?
No, we're going to be stepping out big. Probably the entire length of that 500 to 600 meters of extra mineralized target that we have towards the west side. So we'll have that communicated to the market when the plan is finalized. But I can say right now that it's not just going to be short little step outs incrementally into off the pit to the west side. It's going to go across that yellow dashed outline. We have a whole host of really compelling targets in various places along that trend.
So looking at figure 2 then, what about the east side of the pit? That line G2 was 45 meters, averaging almost a gram per ton gold equivalent. You also have that labeled section pretty much right under the pit saying strong potential for high-grade mineralization. Can you explore at the bottom of the pit or even on the east side of that contention pit?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And this is really one where you have to kind of focus in where that line G2 is highlighted. And if you're looking at figure 2, you'll see that it's darker on that side of the pit. And that's a very steep pit wall. And so the only way we could sample those structures is by doing what we did, which was basically safely running up the wall, chip channel sampling. But it's not possible to drill across the structure from that east wall from those elevations. Now, there is the potential in future drilling to come in from the east side and drill those structures, which we see as a compelling future target. But to date, it has not been practical to drill those structures yet, but they're obviously there. You can see them when you're inside the pit. And in this recent program, in our view, was the appropriate time to run up and sample them and really complete the mapping and sampling of the entire pit. And of course, we've also taken a number of samples outside of the pit, working up new targets wherever we've been able to find compelling surface geology and outcrop to look at. So that's a kind of pending analysis and should be announced when it's ready over the next few weeks.
So are all the samples that we're taking from the actual contention pit, are they out now?
Yeah, they're out. So we batched them up in 2. So that's why they came out, one last week and one this week. So they're all out. And now we're working up the maps and interpretation of the remaining samples that were from outside of the pit.
Okay. Where are some of these other samples that have been taken, more of that reconnaissance sampling program?
Yeah, they're really focused off to the west side, southwest and due west. And so not a lot on the east side. That's a pretty disturbed area with the gravel pit operation right now, but really focusing to the west. And ultimately, we're very interested to see if that Westside Expansion Target not only holds together in that model that we have sketched out, but also continuing down towards the south. So that would be very interesting if it expanded in that direction as well. And if obviously this is very forward looking, but if that held together, then, the Tombstone gold, silver, shallow oxide system would look, I think, quite a lot bigger than anyone had ever considered, especially just based off of our limited drilling to date.
Okay. So really what it is here is that you drilled to the west of the contention pit. You hit some good grades, as we can see in figure 2. Now you sample the contention pit wall. That's almost like a drill hole in itself. And now it's time to expand to the west to hopefully show that mineralization continues and this system simply gets a lot bigger.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And it's taken us 3 years of solid research to get here, but it's go time now. We have a very comprehensive model built out now. And once that is ready, which it is, it's time to go and drill test it and see if it holds together.
Okay. Hey, Simon, I'll post again those figures from the news release, figure 1 and figure 2. I'll also post a link to the company's website in the show notes so everyone can read all over those recent 2 news releases. If anybody has any follow-up questions, please email them to me. And Simon, I'll follow up with you and we get some more of these reconnaissance samples and then any more clarity on what a drill program looks like for that west side expansion. Simon, thanks for your time today.
Hey, thank you very much, Corey. Have a great one. Bye.